In the world of numismatics, the thrill of discovery often lies not only in the history of a coin, but in the unusual quirks that make certain examples stand out from the millions produced. One such captivating treasure is the 1985 US 1 dime coin error. At first glance, this coin seems ordinary, a simple 10-cent piece minted during a time when the Roosevelt dime was well established as part of everyday circulation. But when collectors, historians, and sharp-eyed treasure hunters examine it closely, hidden mysteries are revealed, elevating its status from pocket change to a coveted collectible worth and extraordinary price. In fact, one such error dime from 1985 with the Denver Mint mark has been valued between $50,000 and $125,000, making it an object of fascination and a dream find for anyone who happens to stumble upon it. Truly understand why a coin like the 1985 D dime could command such astronomical value, we have to look deeper into the minting process and the history surrounding this little piece of metal. The Roosevelt dime had been minted since 1946, commemorating President Franklin D. Roosevelt for his leadership and his role in founding the March of Dimes, an organization dedicated to fighting polio. By 1985, the design was so familiar to Americans that it was practically invisible in daily life. Everyone carried dimes in their wallets and jars of loose change, never pausing to consider that among the countless billions minted, a single flawed specimen could one day be worth more than a luxury car or even a house. Yet this is the reality of coin errors. They take what seems ordinary and transform it into something rare, something remarkable, something that collectors will compete for at auctions. The Denver Mint in 1985 produced millions upon millions of Roosevelt dimes. Each one was struck with precision machines, using carefully engraved dies that transferred the images of Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. But in rare cases, the minting process produced errors, double strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, wrong planchets, and other mishaps that turned ordinary coins into anomalies. Collectors prize these anomalies because they are physical evidence of the human and mechanical imperfections within the U.S. mint system. And when the error is both significant and rare, the value skyrockets. That is exactly what happened with certain 1985 D dime errors, which have been confirmed at auctions to sell for between $50,000 and $125,000 depending on condition, rarity of the error type, and demand among bidders. Imagine the drama of such a discovery. Someone sorting through an old jar of change, perhaps coins saved for years, spots something odd about one particular dime. At first, it looks like a common 1985 Denver dime, but maybe the mint mark seems slightly misplaced, or the strike looks unusual, or perhaps the design seems shifted off-center. What most people would shrug off as a curiosity could, for the trained eye, be a signal that this dime is one of those rare error specimens that collectors crave. The owner takes it to a coin dealer, and after verification and grading by a professional service, they are stunned to learn that this little silver-colored coin, worth 10 cents in the supermarket, could bring them life-changing money at auction. $50,000 on the low end, up to $125,000 in the right bidding war. That's the magic of numismatics. Stories like these make people realize that coin collecting is not just about hoarding metal discs. It's about history, artistry, rarity, and the chance to stumble upon something extraordinary. Every error dime tells a story not only about how it was struck, but about the person who finds it. And the 1985 D dime is a perfect example. The Denver Mint was known for its efficiency, but in such a high-volume environment, errors could slip through. Maybe the die wasn't aligned correctly. Maybe the blank planchet wasn't seated properly. Maybe the die itself had cracks or doubling. Each potential error type changes the coin's appeal to collectors, with more dramatic errors commanding higher premiums. Auction houses have reported how collectors line up eagerly when an error dime like this comes to market. The bidding begins at a modest sum, but as soon as the rarity is recognized and certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC, the numbers start climbing. $10,000, $20,000, $40,000. And soon the stakes are so high that only the most determined collectors remain in the game. When the hammer finally drops, sometimes the final price is $50,000. In even rarer instances, bidding wars push the coin toward $125,000, shocking those who never imagined that a dime from their childhood could be worth such a staggering fortune. But what's perhaps most fascinating about this coin is the psychology behind it. Why do collectors spend so much? It's partly about owning something no one else has, a piece of minting history frozen in time. It's partly about the thrill of competition, proving to fellow numismatists that they have secured the prize. And it's also about the understanding that rare coins are not only treasures but investments. Unlike ordinary dimes that lose value to inflation, a 1985 D-dime error will only gain significance as time passes. Its story becomes richer, its rarity becomes more apparent, and its desirability increases. The price tags of $50,000 to $125,000 are not just arbitrary. They reflect the market's recognition of the coin's true worth. For anyone listening right now, the takeaway is simple. Check your change. That dime in your pocket or the coin stuck between couch cushions could, if it bears one of these rare errors, be your ticket to an unexpected fortune. Collectors around the country are actively searching for 1985 D-dimes with mistakes, and some lucky people have already cashed in. Imagine trading a coin you thought was worth 10 cents for enough money to buy a new home, pay off debts, or fund a dream vacation. It sounds unbelievable, but history proves that it happens. The story of the 1985 D-dime is a reminder of how fascinating numismatics can be. It is not just about coins. It's about discovery, rarity, and the thrill of the hunt. This is why collectors examine coins under magnifying glasses, pore over coin rolls from banks, and chase down every rumor of an error specimen. Because in that search lies the possibility of uncovering a treasure that changes lives. And the 1985 D US dime, with its rare errors and its valuation soaring between $50,000 and $125,000, continues to inspire both seasoned numismatists and newcomers alike to never underestimate the power of pocket change. So the next time you hold a dime from 1985 with a Denver Mint mark, pause and take a closer look. What might appear insignificant could actually be one of the most remarkable coins you'll ever encounter. In the realm of rare coins, the line between ordinary and extraordinary is thin, and those who pay attention often find themselves rewarded in ways they never dreamed possible. The story of the 1985 D-dime proves that even in the smallest details, the biggest fortunes can be hidden. The story of the 2020 D United States one-dime error coin is one of those tales that captures the imagination of collectors, historians, and even everyday people who might have loose change rattling around in their pocket. At first glance, a dime may seem insignificant, a simple 10-cent piece that is used without much thought. But in the world of numismatics, even the smallest and most ordinary coins can transform into something extraordinary when a rare error is discovered. And the 2020 D-dime error is one of those cases that has sparked interest and excitement across the collecting community. The Denver Mint has long been known for producing billions of coins every year, and while their quality control is among the strictest in the world, no mint is immune to mistakes. In 2020, an unusual batch of dimes was struck with errors that set them apart from the rest. These errors, subtle to the untrained eye, turned otherwise ordinary dimes into rare treasures worth far more than their face value. In fact, some examples of the 2020 D-dime error coin have fetched prices ranging from $32,000 to $95,000 depending on condition, rarity of the error, and the demand from collectors at auction. That shocking value is what has pushed this small coin into the spotlight and made people take a second look at their pocket change. Imagine the story of someone casually paying for a coffee with a dime that, unknown to them, could have been worth tens of thousands of dollars. It's the kind of scenario that numismatics thrives on, the blending of history, chance, and fortune all wrapped into the tiny piece of metal we take for granted. So what exactly makes the 2020 D-dime error so special? In many cases, it comes down to how the coin was struck. Minting errors are accidents during production that cause a coin to deviate from the intended design. These can include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or even wrong metal compositions. Collectors seek out these mistakes not because they are flaws, but because they are scarce. The rarer the error, the more desirable the coin becomes. The 2020 D-dime error is notable because of how uncommon it is to find significant mistakes in modern coinage. By 2020, the U.S. Mint had advanced technology, improved striking methods, and quality checks that made such errors extremely rare. That's why, when one surfaces, it immediately commands attention. For collectors, the fact that a modern coin from just a few years ago could leap in value from 10 cents to as high as $95,000 is both astonishing and motivating. It's a reminder that the treasure hunt is not limited to dusty collections or coins struck a century ago. Even something as recent as 2020 can hold immense potential. Let's picture what collectors look for in this coin. Some 2020 dimes were struck slightly off-center, creating visible distortions in the design where lettering or parts of Roosevelt's portrait are cut off. Others showed doubling on the inscriptions, a hallmark of the double die error. In extreme cases, a dime could even be struck on the wrong planchet, making it a type of minting error that is exceptionally valuable. These are the sorts of errors that push the price of a coin into the tens of thousands, because they are so uncommon. A collector who finds a pristine, well-documented example of such an error has something that others in the hobby will eagerly compete for. But it's not just the error itself that makes the 2020 dime valuable. Condition plays a huge role in determining worth. A coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC at a high mint state, such as MS65 or higher, can see its value skyrocket compared to the same error in a lower grade. Collectors prize coins that have not only rare mistakes but also sharp details, clean surfaces, and original luster. For this reason, even among error coins, the best preserved specimens are the ones that climb toward that $95,000 mark. The human fascination with these coins is understandable. There is a thrill in knowing that something so small, so ordinary, could be hiding an extraordinary secret. Every time someone examines their change jar or glances at the dimes in their wallet, there is the chance that one of them might not be like the others. And if it happens to be a 2020 dime error, that ordinary 10-cent coin could suddenly represent life-changing money. When collectors hear stories of a coin discovered in pocket change selling at auction for $32,000, $50,000, or even $95,000, it fuels the passion of the entire hobby. The backstory of the Roosevelt Dime itself also adds depth to this discussion. First issued in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II, the dime has been in continuous production ever since. The design has remained largely unchanged, with Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. This consistency means that errors become even more noticeable when they occur. On the 2020 dime, a doubled inscription or an off-center strike immediately stands out against decades of normal issues. For collectors, that makes the error coin feel even more special. Another aspect that drives up the price of the 2020 dime error is its rarity in circulation. Billions of dimes were struck in 2020, yet only a minuscule fraction exhibit the kinds of errors that collectors prize. This rarity creates a sense of urgency. When one appears at auction, collectors know it might be years before another comparable specimen surfaces. That competitive atmosphere pushes bidding higher and higher, sometimes all the way to that remarkable figure of $95,000. Think about how this compares to other collectibles. Many rare stamps, vintage baseball cards, or antique items also command high prices. But what sets coins apart is their accessibility. Anyone, at any time, can stumble across a coin in everyday transactions. The idea that a dime sitting in your car's cup holder could be worth as much as a new luxury car makes coin collecting uniquely exciting. The 2020 dime error is a perfect example of that magic. For new collectors, the story of this coin serves as both inspiration and education. It teaches the importance of looking closely, of paying attention to details that others might overlook. Something as small as doubling on the letters Liberty or an off-center strike could mean the difference between 10 cents and tens of thousands of dollars. It also highlights the value of learning to grade coins, researching known errors, and staying aware of market trends. Auction houses have documented the sales of these rare dimes, often telling the story of how they were discovered. Sometimes they were found in circulation, other times in rolls of freshly minted coins obtained from banks. Each story adds to the mystique. The idea that someone could walk into a bank, exchange a few dollars for coin rolls, and walk out with a dime that would later sell for $74,000 or $95,000 is the kind of real-life treasure hunt that keeps the hobby alive and thriving. As we think about the 2020 dime error, it becomes clear that its story is more than just about money. Yes, the fact that a coin worth 10 cents could sell for $32,000 to $95,000 is mind-blowing. But the true appeal lies in the journey of discovery, the connection to history, and the thrill of the hunt. For seasoned collectors, it is a reminder of why they started collecting in the first place. For beginners, it is an invitation to join the adventure. So the next time you have change in your hand, pause for a moment and look closely. Among those coins might be a modern treasure hiding in plain sight. And if you happen to come across a 2020 D dime with the telltale signs of a mint error, know that you could be holding something that turns an ordinary day into an extraordinary one. After all, in the world of numismatics, miracles are measured in metal, and sometimes the smallest coin carries the greatest story. The 1999 D US 1 dime coin error is one of those fascinating pieces that has rewritten how people view modern coinage. At first glance, it might look like any other dime you might spend without thinking, tucked into your pocket change or passed over at the store without even noticing. But buried beneath its small, ordinary frame lies the potential for life-changing value. Imagine the thrill of flipping over a dime struck in Denver in 1999 and realizing it's not just worth 10 cents. It's worth anywhere between $40,000 and $122,000. That kind of transformation, from spare change to treasure, is what keeps collectors constantly searching, inspecting, and dreaming about the next great find. And today, we're diving into why this particular dime is so important, what makes it an error coin, and how stories of discovery have sparked excitement all across the numismatic community. To really appreciate the story of this 1999 D dime error, you have to understand the larger picture of American coinage at the end of the 20th century. The year 1999 was already historic because of the launch of the 50-state quarters program, which ignited an entire new generation of collectors. Millions of Americans were suddenly paying closer attention to their change, hoping to find one of the new designs entering circulation. But while the quarter stole the headlines, dimes quietly continued production at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, following their well-established design featuring President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. Production numbers were high, billions of coins were struck. Yet within the sea of ordinary dimes, a small number emerged with errors that set them apart forever. Coin errors can happen in countless ways. Sometimes it's due to planchet flaws, where the blank piece of metal wasn't prepared correctly before striking. Other times, it's because the die used to strike the design was cracked, doubled, misaligned, or even mismatched. In the case of the 1999 D Roosevelt Dime error, it's believed that a combination of striking mishaps led to features that collectors quickly realized were not ordinary. Some examples have been discovered with off-center strikes, creating that unforgettable image where the portrait or the reverse design is shifted awkwardly away from the rim. Others carry doubling, where the details of Roosevelt's face or the lettering show a shadow-like repetition that can only be produced during the striking process. And then there are those rare examples believed to have been struck on the wrong planchet, an event so uncommon that when one appears, the value skyrockets into six figures. Think about that for a moment. A dime accidentally struck on the wrong metal blank, maybe one intended for a foreign coin or even another denomination, can transform a 10-cent piece into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. When collectors or dealers come across such coins, the excitement ripples through the entire numismatic world. The 1999 D dime error became one of those legends because it proved that even in the modern age of advanced minting technology, mistakes still happen, and those mistakes can be worth fortunes. Stories of these discoveries often sound like something out of a dream. Imagine a collector poring over a roll of dimes purchased from a local bank, carefully examining each one under a magnifying glass. For most of us, it's just a routine process. But for the lucky few, one coin suddenly stands out. Maybe the date looks doubled. Maybe Roosevelt's profile seems oddly shifted. Or maybe the weight feels slightly off, sparking a closer look that reveals it's been struck on a planchet not intended for dimes at all. In that moment, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. That very same dime that anyone else might have spent on a pack of gum suddenly has the power to fetch $40,000 to $122,000 at auction. That's the kind of story that hooks people into collecting and makes them keep looking, keep searching, keep believing that the next treasure could be theirs. The role of auctions in cementing the value of coins like the 1999 D dime error cannot be understated. Auction houses that specialize in rare coins, such as heritage auctions or Stacksbowers, have repeatedly shown that the market is hungry for dramatic error coins. When one of these dimes surfaces and goes up for bidding, collectors from around the globe compete fiercely to secure it. The winning bids often exceed initial estimates, shocking even experts. Why? Because rarity, history, and desirability all converge in one small piece of metal. And let's not forget the human side of the story. Buyers are not just purchasing a coin. They're purchasing the thrill of owning a mistake that slipped past the mint's careful quality control, a mistake that shouldn't exist but somehow does. Some might ask, why would someone pay $122,000 for a dime? The answer lies in the culture of collecting itself. For some, it's about completing a set or owning one of every possible error. For others, it's about investment, the knowledge that as time passes and fewer of these coins are discovered, the value will likely only go higher. And then there are those who simply love the story, the tangible connection to history, and the reminder that even in the precise world of minting, human error still leaves its mark. These collectors don't just see metal. They see legacy, art, and opportunity all rolled into one. It's also important to note that the 1999 dime error didn't just appear in one form. The diversity of the errors, off-center strikes, double strikes, wrong planchet errors, means that collectors have different variations to chase. This variety makes the coin even more engaging because it sparks conversation and debate over which errors are the most dramatic, the most valuable, or the most visually striking. Some collectors prize dramatic off-center strikes where nearly half the coin is blank, while others prefer subtler but equally rare doubling on the date or lettering. Each variation tells its own story and adds to the mythos of the 1999 error dime. Beyond the numismatic community, these stories have even seeped into mainstream conversations. Articles circulate online about how your dime could be worth thousands, or how someone found a coin in their change worth more than a new car. These headlines grab attention because they challenge our assumptions about value. We all carry coins without a second thought, but every now and then, a story like the 1999 dime error reminds us that not all change is created equal. That tiny piece of metal jingling in your pocket might be the key to unlocking $40,000 to $122,000, if only you take the time to look closely. Collectors often emphasize education as the key to success in finding coins like this. Knowing what to look for, studying examples, and keeping up with auction results all increase your chances of spotting the next big discovery. For the 1999 dime error, that means familiarizing yourself with how doubling appears, understanding the signs of off-center strikes, and learning the telltale weight differences that might indicate a wrong planchet. Knowledge is power, and in this case, knowledge could turn 10 cents into 6 figures. The legacy of the 1999 dime error is still being written. New examples surface occasionally, sparking renewed interest and speculation about how many might still be out there. Are there only a handful of these coins hiding in collections and drawers, or could more be waiting in rolls and jars across the country? That uncertainty fuels the chase. For every collector opening a roll of dimes today, there's a chance, small but real, that they could be the next person to uncover a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. And maybe that's the biggest lesson of all. Coins like the 1999 error dime remind us that history and fortune can be hiding in the most ordinary places. A dime struck in Denver in 1999, overlooked by millions, now stands as a symbol of luck, persistence, and the extraordinary value of mistakes. It's proof that no matter how advanced minting technology becomes, the human element ensures that surprises are still possible. For collectors, that's the heartbeat of the hobby, the dream that the next coin you examine might just be the one that changes everything. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that most people would consider ordinary, a coin so small and common that it would usually get tossed into a change jar or slipped into the bottom of a pocket and forgotten. Now picture that same coin turning out to be worth tens of thousands of dollars. The kind of find that makes headlines in the numismatic world and keeps collectors scanning their spare change with excitement every day. This is the story of the 2013 US 1 dime coin error. A coin that seems almost invisible in daily circulation yet has the power to command jaw-dropping prices. At first glance, the dime looks unassuming. Struck in copper and clad with nickel, weighing just 2.268 grams, and carrying the familiar Roosevelt portrait on the obverse, it doesn't stand out in any way. Millions of these dimes left the Denver Mint in 2013. But among them, a small group bore mistakes, errors born out of the minting process, that transformed these tiny discs of metal into rare treasures, each with a potential value ranging anywhere between $35,000 and $98,000 depending on condition, rarity of the error, and collector demand. When people hear about error coins being worth that kind of money, the natural question is, how does this happen? How does a machine designed for precision at the US Mint manage to create coins with errors that slip into circulation? The answer lies in the sheer scale of minting operations. Billions of coins are struck every year, and while technology and quality control have advanced tremendously, no process is immune from mistakes. Dies wear down, planchets can be flawed, misalignments occur, and sometimes human oversight fails to catch what a machine produces. In the case of the 2013 D-Dime, collectors have reported examples with double die obverse, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and even rare transitional errors where the planchet used wasn't the one intended for that denomination. Each error type carries its own fascination. A double die can show doubled features on Roosevelt's face, the lettering of liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust." An off-center strike may display only part of the design, with a crescent of blank space where the coin blank missed proper alignment. Broad strikes expand the coin beyond its usual diameter, producing an odd, distorted look. Transitional errors are even more exciting, where a coin might be struck on a blank intended for another denomination, such as a cent or foreign coin, instantly catapulting its rarity and desirability. The thrill of searching for a 2013 D-Dime error is that it could be hiding anywhere. It might be in pocket change, resting in a roll of dimes at the bank, or sitting unnoticed in a coin jar in someone's kitchen. Collectors often tell stories of finding valuable error coins in the most mundane places, and that unpredictability fuels the obsession. Imagine pulling a dime from a roll, noticing something odd in the strike, and later discovering that what you hold has a market value that could buy you a car, pay off debt, or even cover a year's college tuition. That dream keeps people looking. When news of these finds circulates, when headlines declare that a small coin from 2013 fetched $50,000 or more at auction, interest spikes and more people start searching their change. And for good reason. At prices ranging from $35,000 to $98,000, these error dimes are life-changing finds. But rarity is not just about error type, it's about condition. Collectors know that a coin in mint state, with its surfaces still shining and its strike strong, will always outshine a worn example. That's why grading is so critical. A 2013 D-Dime with a dramatic error might still only command a modest premium if it is heavily circulated, scratched, or worn. But place that same error on a coin graded MS 65 or higher, and suddenly it leaps into the elite category, where auction houses and private collectors compete fiercely. There's a psychology to it too. Owning a rare error coin is like holding history, an artifact that is both a mistake and a miracle, an accident that shouldn't exist but does. And because errors are inherently scarce, they can never be reproduced at will. You can strike billions of ordinary coins, but you can't recreate the specific circumstances that produced a single off-center dime in 2013. That uniqueness makes collectors reach deeper into their pockets. For many people, the idea that a 10-cent coin could be worth up to $98,000 seems unbelievable. How can something designed for such small, everyday transactions carry such immense value? But numismatics has always thrived on these paradoxes. History shows us that coins like the 1955 double die cent, the 1937 D three-legged buffalo nickel, and the 2004 Wisconsin extra leaf quarter all started as tiny mistakes and later became icons, fetching huge sums and gaining legendary status. The 2013 D-Dime error joins that tradition, cementing its place as a modern rarity that collectors talk about, chase after, and dream of finding. And because the Denver Mint produced millions of ordinary dimes, spotting one of the few with an error is like finding a needle in a haystack, which only amplifies the excitement. The marketplace for such coins can be unpredictable. One year, collectors might see an example sell for $44,000, while another in pristine condition could soar close to $98,000 at auction. Dealers and auctioneers often highlight the rarity and condition of each specimen, knowing that buyers are not just acquiring a coin, they're buying into a story of chance, error, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. Even beyond the financial aspect, these coins carry an intangible value. The mystery of how they slipped past quality control, the allure of owning something so few others will ever hold, and the connection to a minting error that turned ordinary change into extraordinary treasure. Think about it, every dime you pick up has the potential to be extraordinary. Most won't be, but the mere possibility transforms the way collectors look at coins. Suddenly, every detail matters. The spacing of the letters, the clarity of Roosevelt's profile, the shape of the rim, the alignment of the design. Collectors train their eyes to catch abnormalities, because one glance could mean the difference between a coin worth 10 cents and a coin worth $98,000. That's what makes the hobby addictive, what keeps people sifting through change late into the night, armed with magnifying glasses and coin reference guides. It's the hope that the next coin will be the one. The 2013 D-Dime error is more than just a coin. It's a phenomenon, a reminder that even in a world of high-tech minting equipment, human oversight and mechanical flaws still create anomalies that slip into our hands. And because error coins exist outside the realm of planned production, they carry an authenticity that can't be replicated. They are accidents, and that accident is their magic. When collectors see that a coin like this has sold for between $35,000 and $98,000, they aren't just chasing money. They're chasing a piece of history, a symbol of how imperfection can be more valuable than perfection. The ordinary dime in your change purse might be worthless, but its flawed twin could be priceless. That irony, that reversal of value, is what gives the 2013 D-Dime error its irresistible appeal. So the next time you handle your change, don't overlook the dimes. Hold them up to the light, check the details, examine the rims and the strike. Because you never know when the smallest coin in your pocket might turn out to be a life-changing discovery. And if you happen to stumble upon that elusive 2013 Denver minted dime with an error, remember this, you're not just holding a 10-cent piece. You're holding the possibility of $98,000 in your fingertips. That is the kind of story that numismatics is built on, and that is why collectors across the country are searching with renewed intensity, hoping to find that tiny, shining mistake that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary.